Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the REDX Podcast. My name is Haley Johnson. I'm going to be the host today, but we have a very special guest. You might recognize him. We have Knolly Williams with us today. Hello, Knolly.
Haley, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm so good. I'm so glad that you're back.
I'm super excited to be back, and this is going to be a great episode. We're going to have a lot of fun together.
Oh, yeah, I think so too. For everybody watching, wherever you're watching, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, feel free to comment down below. Tell us hello. We want to see your faces and everything. So if you're watching, this is a participatory event. So I want you to ask your questions. Knolly wants you to ask your questions. He's here for the next 45 minutes with us. So definitely take advantage of him being here and watching live. I think that's one of the perks of watching live is you get to ask your questions. So I think that's it for the pre-show here. Knolly, for those that don't, did I
Okay.
cut you off?
No. Go ahead.
I was just say, for those that don't know you, will you give us just a brief introduction as to who you
I
are?
will. I will. You know that's. I just thought about. I forgot to put my slide that tells who I am.
Oh.
Like what have you done? Whatever. So nobody cares about that. They just want the content. But just a little bit about me. I'm an entrepreneur, a business person. I've been an entrepreneur since the age of 13. And I started my first official business when I was 23. And believe it or not, Haley, I've worked from home for myself since I was 23 years old. So I've kind of been on that trajectory. I got into real estate in 2003. I sold over 1,000 houses my first 10 years in the business, and it was mostly listings. Okay, over 90% listings has been really my career. And now I'm passionate about teaching other agents how to duplicate that success. The big thing I'm all about is teaching real estate agents how to make a quarter million or more a year working 4 hours a day or less. So
Ooh,
we're going to unpack a lot of that today. It's going to be fun.
that is awesome. That sounds good to me. We have somebody said, "What up, Nolly?" Robert said that he met you back in KW days when he was in
Nice. What's up,
Sacramento.
Robert? Nice. Yeah. I did 5 years at Remax, 10 years at Keller Williams, and I just loved the business. Love the business. I'm at EXP now. Been here for 3 years, and I'm having a great time. But it's really all about, for me, um, paying it forward, giving back. That's what you're all about too, Haley. I remember our first episode. It was your first time doing this, and you're doing another first today. We won't talk too much about it, but you're actually controlling the control center, if you will,
Whew,
manning the control center. So
it's a little
no,
crazy.
no sweat. It's super easy. No problem. Yeah, you got this. Yeah,
Yeah, thanks, Nolly.
yeah.
Well, let's get into the content. I know you have a presentation today to go through for everybody that shows up that is here. So why don't we get started here? Let me pull it up really quick.
Okay.
We're talking about how to get more listings and make more money. Is that right?
That's right. How to get more listings and make more money in 2022. If you want to take more listings, if you want to make more money in 2022, you're in the right room. This is the right class. If you're here
Yes.
live, welcome. I see we had Montreal in the house. We've got some other places in the house as well. So here's a couple things I want to mention first. Number one, realize that the actions that you take right now are going to set up your 2022 for success. Okay. So you want to be thinking about, what am I doing right now, today, to set up 2022?
Mm.
Remember, the way we get paid is on a 30, 60, sometimes 90 days, right? So the actions that you take right now will set up the first quarter of 2022, and they will kind of spell out the trajectory of the rest of the year, in my opinion.
Mhm.
So now's the time to focus on your number one bucket. Remember, you've got three lead buckets. Number one, your sphere of influence. Number two, your farm. Number three, your niche. Those are the three lead buckets that you have. And what I want to encourage you to do is focus on your SOI right now. Give them a call. Okay. Don't wait till Christmas. Don't wait till New Year's. Give them a call right now and just find out what they need. Okay. Decide the Christmas or New Year gift that you want to give them to your A list. We have an A, B, C, and D list in real estate.
Mm.
And Haley, do you know what the D list is? That
Tell
stands
me.
stands for delete. Okay.
Okay.
There's some people, truthfully, there's some people on your list right now that should be deleted. Okay.
Mm.
Maybe they fired you or you just didn't have a good feeling working with them in the past. Get rid of them. Okay. But you've got your A list, your B list, and your C list. And you want to, the ones that are your A list, okay, your top 100, your top 200, maybe even your top 50, you want to treat them extra special. Um, Give them a call, find out what their needs are. And then the last thing I want to mention on this is that you want to start to, you want to consider anchoring your purpose or your calling, your real estate calling into a higher purpose. Now, this is, I teach a
Mm.
lot on this, so I'm not going to unpack this too much. But one of the big things I teach, Haley, is when you have a real estate career, think about it this way: your career, your real estate business is a conduit for your purpose. Okay, it's a conduit for your
Mm.
passion. A lot of people don't realize that your real estate business that you have is a perfect vehicle for whatever passion you have. I've got people in our group that love to they love to work with animals. They love to work with homeless. They have all kinds of passions, and the real estate career that they have is sort of like a sponsor or a conduit. And let me give you an example. Let me put it
Yeah.
in concrete terms. So let's say, for example, you wanted to provide wheelchairs for wounded soldiers. Soldiers that have been wounded in battle, and you called it, you know, wheelchairs for wounded warriors. Just an example. Okay. Now, for
Pretty
every
good.
yeah, for every let's say the wheelchairs cost $700. Okay. So for every closing that you do, you're going to donate $100 toward the project, right? So that means if you do 35 deals this in 2022, you'll be able to provide 5 wheelchairs. Okay, just doing math here, guys. Don't get scared of it. Just math. So you'll be able to provide 5 wheelchairs. So now when you're talking to your SOI, instead of saying, "Hey, I want to do 35 deals next year because I got my eye on that new Mercedes, and by the way, we got this new subdivision we want to move into." No, 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 no. You say, "Hey, I want to provide 5 wheelchairs to, and here's how I'm going to do it." So you have, and I unpack that quite a bit in my book, Success with Listings. So we won't get too far down that road, but just think about what you're passionate about, what you want to get behind, and start anchoring your business into that higher purpose, if you will. If that makes sense.
Mm. Yeah, it gives you a greater why as to what you're doing. If you don't have a good why, then what are you even doing, you know?
Yeah, and it helps you share your why with others too.
I
So
love
that's
that.
great. Good
That's
point, Haley.
awesome.
So how to earn a quarter million or more while working 4 hours a day or less. Okay, that's what I'm going to share with you guys today. Okay,
Woo.
now we have about 29 minutes left to do this, but we're going to make it quick. I, I I've been encouraged because I love Haley. She's great. She really has helped my career as well. So I've been encouraged to give away my best stuff. That's what I'm going to do today. So I run a group called Mentorship Masters. Now it used to be, Haley, people would pay me $10,000 a year or $25,000 a year, depending on which plan they purchased,
Hmm.
to be in this program. Now they don't pay for it, but people say, well, why would they pay you 10,000 or 25,000? Well, because what I did was I helped them earn an extra 100,000 or an extra quarter million. And that's what I'm going to do today without you guys having to join the group or pay me any money. I'm going to show you today how you can earn an extra 100,000 or a quarter million next year. Okay. Just following the simple things that I'm going to share with you today, all while working 4 hours a day or less. Okay. So this is about you earning a quarter million or more a year, working 20 to 30 hours a week or less, having nights and weekends off, taking 4 to 5 vacations a year, and being debt free. Now, the reason I put these 5 tenets down is because I took a poll, Haley, years ago, and
Yeah.
this is what agents say. They say this is the lifestyle that we choose. And I call it living life by design instead of by
Mm,
default. Okay, it's living
I
life by
love that.
choice. So I believe that real estate agents should be able to make a quarter million or more a year, and they should be able to work 4 hours a day or less. And people are like, "That's crazy." I'm going to show you. I'm going to prove it to you. Show you how we're going to do this. So, in real estate, I want you to understand this: you will only ever have two problems. Now, this is really important for you to understand this because it's true. You'll only ever have two problems in this business, and both problems are easy to solve. The only two problems, Haley, that we have in this business, besides mindset, okay, I'm going to throw mindset out there because you know, that's a given, but it's really leads and leverage. So if you have a problem right now today, I tell my agents all the time, I said, there's no problem you have that 10 fresh listings won't solve. Now, when you get those 10 listings, now you got a new problem, and that's leverage. You're like, well, how am I going to do all this business? With me by myself. So
Yeah.
that becomes a leverage issue. And you're dealing with that, Haley, right? Because you're you're running the show, and you're like, hey, how am I going to do this by myself? But okay. So how to solve problem number one? Problem number one is leads. Okay. Now the way you solve that, guys, is you do the two. Now I'm going to go through this very quick because I'm trusting that you guys are subscriber. You have a YouTube account and you can watch this over and over at your heart's content. And I do want to be able to answer questions too. So the number one problem is leads, and the way you solve that problem is you do the two. Okay. By the way, what does that mean? Do the two? That means that you're going to do 2 hours of lead generation every single day. Okay, every single day from 9 to 11. I'll unpack that a little bit more. But here's what I want you to think about. I want you to choose your lead generation activities based on your personality profile. Okay. Now, Haley, nobody ever taught this to me when I got into business. What they told me was pick up the phone and start making calls. Just call. Well, guess what, Haley? I'm an introvert. I don't like making cold calls. Okay. Now, one of the first things I did when I got into business was I purchased REDX, right? Because I wanted to get those expired leads. And it was unique for me because I was able to send letters, postcards, and then I worked the expired business. A lot of people don't realize the depth of detail that you get from REDX is so great that you can work it the way that is designed around you. Okay. And no matter what it is, you can work that around your personality profile. So I like to use the DISC. Okay. The DISC profile. If you don't know what your DISC is, you can go to my website, knolly.com, and don't go there now because we're in training right now. Don't go there now. I know a lot of my coaching students are like squirrels. They're like, oh, let me go. Knolly said go over here. No, not yet, not yet. So, but you can take the personality profile test for free. My favorite four-letter word, free. And that way you kind of know who you are. You know your personality profile. And it turns out for me, I'm not a high D. So high Ds are really good at making cold calls. So I have a lot of people in my group that make, 100 cold calls a day. They love it. That just isn't me. I'm a high on the SC scale. I'm more of an engineer. So I took my business in a little bit different direction and was still highly successful. So another thing that we use is a system called Wealth Dynamics. And Wealth Dynamics is another system that you can kind of tap into to know what your personality profile. The big difference is in Wealth Dynamics, there's like 8 profiles, whereas in DISC, there's 4. Okay, so that's kind of the big difference there. So why is lead generation important? Okay, so let's talk about this. So look at this right here, paycheck down to lead generate. So here's the thing, Haley. By the way, can you see my cursor, Haley? You can't see it?
I cannot.
No. Okay, so this doesn't sometimes I like to kind of highlight certain words, but it won't let me do that because we're in a certain preview mode. That's all right. But look at the very top, you see paycheck. That's what we all want. We all want the paycheck, okay? But in order to have a paycheck, you got to have a closing. And in order to get a closing, you have to have a contract. In order to have a contract, you have to have an offer. In order to have an offer, you have to have a listing. In order to have a listing, you have to have a client. And in order to have a client, you have to have a lead. And in order to have a lead, you've got to lead generate. Okay. It's so important to your business. And yet, I was at our Thanksgiving party a couple weeks ago, and I walked up to an agent. She was like, I'm not doing too well. Can you give me some? I said, are you lead generating? No. Okay. Well, let's start there. Let's do that first. And then, so prospecting equals paychecks, and not prospecting equals poverty. There's really no other way I can say it. If you're not tapping in, if you're not taking advantage of, the tools that you have at your disposal, the tools that REDX provides, then you're not succeeding, period. Or you're not succeeding at the level you should be, put it that way.
I like
Did
that.
you want to interject anything, Haley, while we're going through here?
No, I'm just taking some notes here. I was thinking about the disc profile that you were
Yeah,
talking about a little bit
sure.
before.
Yeah,
And I really liked it because I think that everybody that gets into, especially REDX as a lead software company, people get in and they're really intimidated by cold calling. Like you
right.
said, like that's more
Mhm.
of a dominant personality type of go getter. And I for one, I don't think I'm that either. And so I think if I needed to lead generate, no matter what lead generation activity you want to do, it's interesting that you can base that off of your personality, off of what you like and your strengths. Because I think
Yeah.
if everybody did the same thing, not everybody's going to be as good at that same thing, right? So to
Oh
cater
yeah.
your business to what your strengths are, I just love that. I just wanted to point that out because I that's been on my brain since you said that. So
Yeah, and that's cool that you mentioned that because a lot of people do point this out. They're like, man, I've never, because most people don't teach this. But the reality is, see, my mom has a master's degree in psychology. And when
mm,
you understand the human psyche, the way that people operate, and we're different. We're just different. I was the shy kid. Okay, now go figure. I teach classes. All right, okay, whatever. But even the shy kid can become a professor, right? And he can lecture from the front of the room and teach classes and so on. And so I learned how to teach. And so when I went on a listing appointment, I became a teacher. I would
mm,
go with almost like a whiteboard, not quite that bad, but I would actually do a mini seminar, a 30, 40-minute seminar where I taught the seller uh, how to get their home sold and why I was the best choice, you know? And by the end of the seminar, like we're going to spend 35 minutes today, same thing, they were ready to go. That's why over 95% of them listed with me. Now, a high
mm,
D could have just gone in and said, look, I'm so and so, let's sign. They would have been done in 10 minutes. But it didn't matter. It didn't matter because, I did it my way, they do it their way. But truthfully, my personality profile is a bit of a handicap, quote unquote, in this
mm,
business.
mm,
But as long as you know who you are, you don't have to have it as a handicap for you. And
mm,
those leads that you're getting from REDX, they can be worked all kinds of different ways. And by the way, I'm glad you said that too, because this is something I want you guys to write down. I choose to make it fun and easy. Okay. I want that to be
ooh,
your new motto. That's going to be your new slogan, or at least your new affirmation. I choose to make it fun and easy. If this business is not fun and easy for you, okay, you're not going to last.
mm-hmm,
You're gonna peter out. You're not gonna go the distance. It's got to be fun and easy. I want it to be, Haley, when I'm 95, I'm excited. Like I'm ready to go to work, that day. But the only way I can do that is to wrap the business around who I am, my
mm.
personality.
Well, you
And
talk
that's
about leverage your
yeah,
personality, leverage your strengths.
no doubt about it. No doubt, no
I
doubt.
love it.
All right, so let's look at the math, guys. And okay, now we got some people going to sleep. I know it's after lunch, but let's look at the math because I'm telling you uh, how to get $250,000. Okay, Nolly, show me. Okay, so this is a calculator. By the way, this calculator is downloadable as well on my website. If you want to go play with it, don't do it now, okay? But you want to go play with it, you can. But so this is an example. If you want to net $250,000 and your average commission is 3%, and then looking in box number 4, your average sale price is 350. Okay, then if you follow me all the way down, you'll see that you have your annual listings taken will be 28, your monthly listings taken will be 2.3, etc. But let's go
Mm,
all the way to the bottom. Your annual appointments required is 35. That means you have to go on 2.8 appointments a month. Okay. Listen, all you've got to do to make $250,000 is go on 3 listing appointments a month. All right. And if you're doing the two, that means you're doing 2 hours of lead generation every single day. Do you think you could at least get one appointment after doing 8 hours of lead gen? Yes, you can if you're doing the right things while you lead generate. Okay, I'll talk about that in a minute. But so this is a
mm,
very simple calculator. Sometimes people say, well, my average sale price isn't 350. I'm at 250. Well, what can we do to get it to 350? Let's not look at the problem as if it's unsolvable. Okay, I know I've got
mm,
agents that I coach their average sale price is 800,000. They wouldn't think of taking a 350 listing. Okay. So, this is a business. I tell my agents all the time, I say, when you get up in the morning, I want you to ask yourself this question: how can I get myself a raise today? How can I give myself a raise today?
I love that.
And yeah, and you can raise your sale price, your average sale price, just by, guess what, farming in different areas and so on. That I
Mm.
have a whole topic on that, but I want to keep things moving. But so what I want you to do for now, though, as you're following the presentation, is I just want you to write down that 3 appointments per month, if you follow the math here, will get you to your quarter million. Now, I even have some people say, Haley, well, I don't average 3%. I'm at 2.5. Well, what can we do to get your average? Because my average percentage is 3.5. Okay, on my side of the deal.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that you can do to bring a lot of these numbers up if you need to.
Hmm.
But for now, just write down 3 appointments, because at the end of the day, appointments, write that word down, appointments. That's what it is all about. It's how many appointments you go on is how you're going to win this game. Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, how good you are at the appointments as well. Okay. Now let's look at problem. So that's the leads problem. We got that solved. Now let's solve problem number 2, leverage. Okay. What I want you to do to solve your leverage problem in 2022. Some of you don't have a leverage problem. You're just like, I just need more leads. So this is not for you. But if you've got a situation where, and I remember, Haley, I was 8 months into the business, and I was slammed. I took 21 listings my first 74 days in this business. Okay. How did I do it? Nothing ingenious. I just followed what the book said. I just read books and did what it said to do. That's all. And I guarantee you, if you do what I tell you to do, you'll be at least 100,000, and probably more like a quarter million, uh, you know, next year. So I want you to delegate all non-dollar productive activities. Okay. And we're going to talk about, like, what is that? What does that mean? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when I was first in the business, I was about 8 months in the business. I got so slammed that what I did, Haley, was, by the way, let's take it off the slide for a minute. We'll go.
Yeah.
We're going to check your skills here.
Oh
Uh,
gosh.
so here's what I did when I got. I'm the type of person that likes to do what I like to do, and I don't like to do what I don't like to do. That's the reason why I left home when I was 16 years old. Okay, not advisable, by the way. It was a bad decision, but I thought I knew better. Okay, I was 16. I said, I don't need a mom anymore. I'm good. I left home. By the way, I've never gone back home since then. I just but I was surprised, Haley, when I reconnected with my mom at 18. I was like, she learned a lot in 2 years. Well, this knucklehead had gotten a little bit smarter. But anyway, so what I did was I wrote down all the things that I did in the business. 8 months in, I was like, I'm doing so much. I'm overwhelmed. And by the way, anybody out there overwhelmed? Yeah, I see you. Are you overwhelmed right now? Well, what I did was I said, I'm overwhelmed. I need help. Okay, but I don't know how to get it. So here's what I did. I wrote down every single thing that I do on a listing. It turns out there's 46 activities. Okay, on a typical listing, 46 activities. Now a buddy of mine has like 200 activities, but I've deduced it down to 46 core activities. And so I started writing them down, like, put lock boxes up, take photos, take lock boxes off, whatever. And
Mhm.
then I graded those on a scale of 1 to 5. Okay, same as the Amazon system. 1 means I hate it, 5 means I love it. Okay, and then 4 means I like it. Okay, and then I think 4 is I really like it, 5 is I love it, 3 is I like it, um, 2 is I don't like it, and 1 is I hate it. Okay. So I said, you know what? I'm only going to do 4s and 5s. Okay. I'm only going to do stuff that I really like or love. And
Hmm.
I just rated. So here's an example of the sheet. This is kind of an upgraded version of it. I know you can't really see that, but I'm just showing you the kind of stuff that I put together. And by the way, this is a free download also for you. Okay. So we're going to give you a copy of this. But
Nice.
this is so what I did, Haley, eventually, is I said, okay, everything that's a 4 or 5, I'm not going to do it. Okay. And only the stuff everything that's a 4 and 5, I'm going to do it. But everything that's not a 4 or 5, I'm not going to do it. And that was the beginning of my journey of delegation and hiring and building a team, if you will. Okay. Now, the way I have it color coded here is if you know when you're running a very highly efficient team, and one day I'll come back and I'll teach all about how to build a team and all that. We'll do that on a separate. But I just want you to know that of the 46 steps, there are very few steps that require a license. Okay, very few steps require a license. I'm going to give you a
Mm.
copy of the 46-step system, and you can actually go through there yourself with a highlighter and figure out what requires a license. Here in Texas, I figured out that there's only 6 activities. So everything that's not highlighted are the things that I do. Okay,
Oh, wow.
and everything that's highlighted is stuff I do not do. Okay, I don't do it. When I was highly efficient on my team, I got it down to where I did one thing, and that was generate leads. My team did everything else. But you can run that was when I had a big team. Nowadays, those days are kind of gone. You can run a highly successful $250,000 or $500,000 a year commission business with a couple of admin people. That's it. Okay. And so the reason why some are yellow is some of them may require a license, but I want to delegate them to a team member, and then just pay them like a flat fee, like maybe 250 or $300, or maybe $500 per listing for them to take care of certain things like presenting incoming offers. See, a lot of times what I do, Haley, is I will do my listing appointment by Zoom. Okay, probably most of my listing appointments are that way now. And I was doing that years ago, and then I would send somebody out to the property that has a license to kind of go through the checklist and do the dog and pony show and all that. So, and by the way, let me just say this because I think it's worth saying. When you become famous, when you become well known, it's a big thing that I teach. People, it the purpose of marketing. Let me say this: the purpose of marketing is to make selling superfluous, or to make selling unnecessary. And when you become famous, when people know you, you can get away with a lot of stuff. Like my clients, because I'm on YouTube and I teach classes and I do all this stuff, they're like, Knolly, are you free Thursday? No, no, I know you're busy. Don't worry. If you can't do Thursday, we do Friday. They're begging. They want to just see. And I'm like, no, 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 it's no problem. Now I know you're busy. Just tell me if you can't do it. They're like, and then when I get
Mm.
if I get to the appointment, they're like, now do you need to leave? Are you okay? Can you still talk? I'm like, yeah. They're rushing me out. Can we just sign the paperwork and get you out of here? So now I learned, Haley, that I could just do a Zoom call. They're good. We go through the
Hmm.
numbers, we go through the CMA, we spend 15, 20 minutes on Zoom. They've already educated them. This is what I tell my students, okay? You have to win the listing before you ever meet with the client, with the seller. You have to win the listing before you ever meet with the seller. Let's jump back on the slides, and we'll go through the
Yeah.
rest of them, that we can get some. I'm not letting Haley talk today. This is
No,
crazy.
this is great. This is a lot of content. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
I wanted to pack a lot of content because I just felt like I've never taught this before ever. Okay, this is the first time. You can go through all my YouTube videos and you'll not find this anywhere. So the 46-step system, listing system. By the way, what I'm teaching is what I normally teach in a year for agents to get. I'm teaching it in 30 minutes, 35 minutes. That's it. We're good. If you
We're
just watch the
going.
video, you watch the video enough, you don't have to pay me any money. You're good. You can thank REDX. So the 46-step system, you can download that. But 91.3% of all activities on this are delegatable to other people. So there's a big trap that a lot of agents fall into, thinking you can do it all. Okay.
Mm.
What I want you to do is understand where you are weak and partner with others who are strong in those areas. Now, the way that you understand where you're weak is you take the DISC test, the DISC profile test. Okay. It's free. You go to my website, you take it, and then you're like, man, I suck in these areas. Yeah, you do. I try to pretend, Haley, that I'm really good at everything, but my wife calls me out all the time. And anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But she knows where I'm good and where I'm not. So how to earn $250,000 or more while working 4 hours a day? We're gonna or less. Okay, let's put a lid on this. So you work 2 hours in the morning from 9 a.m. to 11. You're time blocking for lead generation. That's what we call it. Okay. And that's going to be based on your personality profile. Then in the afternoon, okay, from 2 to 4 p.m., you're going to time block for appointments. All right. Now, appointments or what I call dollar productive activities, either one. You could do either one in the afternoon. Now think about this for a minute, Haley. And I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but it's a bit of a trick question. But
Oh
if
gosh.
if I'm if I'm time blocking in the afternoon to go on listing appointments, and I got 2 hours, how many listing appointments do you think I could do in a day?
Well, it depends. If it's you who you said that you like to teach on your listing appointments, maybe one or two. But if it's a
It's
dominant,
probably one. Look, it's probably one. Because look at this. You have to drive. Now, in my advanced class, I teach, this is not a paid class. I'm just saying when my advanced students come to me, I teach them how to do all this stuff by Zoom because it saves a lot of time. But if I have to get in my car, I got to look good, right? On Zoom, just the top of me has to look good. And the rest could be whatever. So I have to get in my car, drive, get ready. That's going to be, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, then get to the property, spend an hour with the person, 30 minutes to get back to the office. So you could do one appointment per day, let's just say. Okay.
right?
Now that means you could do how many in a week?
5, 6.
5 or 6. Now think about it this way. Remember, we said nights and weekends off. So let's say 5. Okay. You could do 5 a week. That's how many appointments a month? 22. There's 22 work days
Thanks.
yeah. So now think about this. How many appointments do you need to do to get to a quarter million?
3 a month,
Okay, you remember?
right?
Huh? Three.
3 a month.
Three. And I'm telling you, you got the time to do 22 appointments. All you got to do is do 3 and you'll be at a quarter million. Okay. So I just showed
Hmm.
you and by the way, if you time block 2 hours every day, you mean to tell me you can't get one appointment a week? It's not possible. It's just not possible. So I just showed you how to make a quarter million or more in 2022 while working 4 hours a day or less. Okay. Because if you're going on one appointment per week, okay, then what does that leave for the other days? That leaves for you to do other dollar productive activities. Okay. So other things that you need to catch up on or whatever. But what are you not doing? You're not doing all the crap that you're doing right now, like paperwork and inputting
Hmm.
listings to MLS or following up with agents that have questions on your listing. You're not doing any of that stuff, right? Because you're delegating all of those duties to someone else, right? By the way, I have another technique that I teach. We don't even have time for this, but I teach my students how to. I charge a $5.95 admin fee on every listing that I take, and so if I do 4 listings on a month, that gives me another $2,400 to pay my admin. So I don't pay the admin out of my own pocket. That's a whole
Mm.
nother topic because the agents are like, how can I do that? Well, guess what? It's just like going to the movies. If you go to the movies and you go to the dollar movie, or now it's like $3, they still call it the discount dollar movie.
I
Anyway,
know.
it's $3. But if I go to that other theater where they give me a blanket, they'll bring me a cheeseburger, right? If I want that, they'll bring me a beer, right? And it reclines all the way back. My popcorn on the side. They ask
Oh
me what I
yeah.
want. That's going to cost a little more than $3. Probably going to cost more than the regular 15, but they're getting a different experience, right? So when
Hmm.
my clients get to understand the kind of experience that I offer, they're happy to pay my admin fee because it's just like going to a doctor. I'm like, hey, you're going to have, you know, anyway, that's a whole nother topic. We don't want to get into that, but to continue the story, there's always more to tell. I've got a couple of books. Triple My Listings is absolutely free. You go to my website, you can get that book. And the reason I wrote that book, Haley, is because my mentorship masters kept asking, well, what do I do when I'm in my lead generation bunker? I'm like, just subscribe to REDX and you'll have your hands full. You got it. So I wrote a book on, and of course, expireds and all that is in here, FISBOs and stuff, but it's 27 marketing ideas for free seller leads so that if you just don't know what to do, you get that. Success with listings really breaks down the listings game. That's
Hmm.
over 450 pages. I know I'm a nerd. What can I say? But 450 pages of me picking my brain and sharing how I sold 1,000 houses my first 10 years, step by step, for somebody that's interested in that. So both of those books are on my website as well. And now we've got 3 minutes for questions. So get that screen out of here. Let's
Wow, that was awesome. For those that are watching, if you have any questions, just chime in real quick. I have a couple questions
Sure, you bet.
actually.
You bet.
So as you're saying this, I mean, we went through all of that in a few minutes, so
Yeah.
that was
Well,
awesome.
I started learning that when we're recording, we can do that because they'll go back and watch it again.
Yeah, which is great. And so, and when you were talking about this, I was thinking, it seems pretty simple, right?
Yeah,
Like
it is simple.
working less than 4 hours a day to get $250,000, right? Like
Yeah.
that. What you were saying seems pretty simple. So tell me, like, why don't agents do this? Where do they get like stuck
Yeah,
in
yeah,
all
that's a great
this?
question. That's a great question. So in my last year, so I still produce, okay, but I'm more of a coach trainer. I people ask how many deals do you do now? As few as possible, okay? My last year in big production, I did 153 deals with a part-time assistant, and at one point I had we were doing 100 plus deals. I was working 3 hours a week, okay, 3 hours a week. And when I would share that with people, my the guy who was running my team, he would laugh. He's like, "Man, you don't work no 3 hours a week." So he thought I worked less than that. But the truth is, the reason why most agents don't do it is number one, they don't realize it's possible. Okay, and number
Mm,
two, there's and we won't get into this because it's a whole another topic from the psyche standpoint. We have a thing called the ego that lives within our brain. Okay, so remember, the Homo sapiens race has four bodies. We have a spiritual body, a mental body, a physical body, and an emotional body. So we have a thing called the ego. Okay, it's not really that understood in Western culture, but Scripture calls it like I think Scripture calls it like the carnal nature or whatever. So
mm,
and Jesus even said the spirit is willing but the flesh is weak. Now the that he was talking about this ego that we have. So the ego wants to believe and think that it's very difficult, it's hard, it's arduous, it's a lot of work. I got to hustle, I got to grind.
yeah.
Okay? But the reality is when you look at the highest paid people in the world, they are not hustling and grinding. Okay. My dad used to tell me all the time, he said, "Boy, you see that McDonald's?" I said, "Yeah, I see it, Daddy. Let's go get a cheeseburger." He said, "No, no, no. I want to teach you a lesson." He said, who do you think is working the hardest in there? The owner or the person making the burger?" I said, "The person making the burger." I said, "Well," he said, "Well, who do you think makes the most money?" I said, "The owner." He said, "Exactly. The more money you make, the less you work." And it's just something that most people
Mm,
don't realize. They just don't know. They don't study it. Quantum physics is another thing that I study a lot. It's huge. Look it up. Albert Einstein won a Nobel Prize for his work in it, I think in 1946. But that's the reason is because our subconscious mind, by the way, this is a great book for those of you that make things difficult. Remember, I choose to make it fun and easy, not difficult and hard. Okay. The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, that's by Dr. Joseph Murphy. And it will answer your question about why we make things so arduous.
mm.
Okay. So in fact, one of his principal reasons for failure is too much effort. There's two reasons that we fail, and the number one reason, or one of the two reasons, is that we put too much effort into it.
That's interesting. I like
Yeah.
that. Just get out of your own way, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Exactly.
awesome.
Yeah.
We have another question. Our town real estate asked. Let me show this actually. Ooh, for your personality type, Nolly, what lead gen activities do you do to generate listings?
Yeah. So here's the easiest way to figure out what you like doing. What I tell people, just go through my book, and then when you see one, all right. So I'm going to flip to just a random one. Okay. Uh, okay. Host neighborhood events as open houses. Okay. So I don't teach open houses, I teach events. Like,
Hmm.
hey, we're doing a wine tasting, or we're doing a pizza party, or we're doing a happy hour. That's an event. And you invite everybody to the event, not to an open house. So I teach you how to do that. But when you look at the idea, it's idea number 10, you're like, I don't like that at all. Then you go on to the next one because the feeling that you get when you read the idea, there's another one you'll get. You'll say, "Ooh, I like that one." Okay, I
Mm.
like that one. I can do mail to every home in your farm every month, and I teach you how to do it for free. I've got a one of my coaching clients right now. She farms 5,000 homes. Doesn't cost her a dime because she's got sponsors that cover the cost. So I teach all that in here. But the way what it jives with your personality profile is you just if it feels icky to you, then it's not for you. If it feels good, it's in your profile. I think that's the easiest way to explain it.
Yeah.
For me, I don't like talking on the phone. Believe it or not, it's very strange because I like talking on stage, but I don't like talking on the phone. And so I'm okay doing a Zoom or other thing. Anyway, it's weird, but we're all different. My profile is ISC. I'm high on the SC scale and high on the I scale. And a typical mega agent profile is high on the D, somewhere in the I, with very little SC. So technically, I'm an administrator. If I was at Keller Williams and they were to take my profile, I would make a good, what do they call it? We call them DOFIs, Director of First Impressions, which is basically a receptionist. Okay, that's my profile. I'd make a good receptionist. Okay. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I think we're out of time here, Knolly, but thank you so much for this presentation. Where can people find that book? Your website, you said?
Yeah, all the stuff that it kind of lives on my website, knolly.com. This book is free. This one's on, you can find this one on Amazon, Success with Listings. There's
Beautiful.
a link directly to it on my website as well. And I priced it as little as I could. I think we've got it on sale right now. It's normally $20, but it's on sale for like $11.97. And I think I make 40 cents from Amazon for every copy I sell. So I just want to get the information out there to the people. So anyway.
Love that.
My pleasure.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks everybody for tuning in and watching. Knolly, we'll have to have you back on to tell us how to build a team.
Yeah, I'd love to.
I think that
and
would
how
be...
to add leverage and all the other stuff that I teach. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. But thank you so much. Thank you to everyone that's watching. We're going to be right back here next week, Thursday at 1:30 again. If you aren't already, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also you can subscribe to our podcast at theredx.com/podcast. Put your email in and you'll get email updates every time we have an episode. So that's pretty nifty. But I think that's it for today. Thank you so much. We'll see everybody next week.
I'm seeing the love too. And you did an awesome job, Haley.
Thank you.